Dive into bold, fresh flavors with this main course roasted tomato, couscous, and bacon salad, finished with a bright, zesty lemon sauce. Hi, and welcome to the channel where I will be cooking good food as well as counting carbohydrates. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm also a type 1 diabetic. Those of us with type 1 can eat anything, so I will demonstrate not only how to make a dish, but also how to count carbs to determine insulin requirements for the dish. These recipes are also gluten-free or can easily be made gluten-free with a few tweaks here and there. I'll show you how to do that as well. Please stick around until the end, because after cooking the dish, we'll sit down together and rock and bolus and, of course, count carbohydrates. And if you find this helpful, please subscribe. Let's begin with roasting the tomatoes. Rinse and cut in half. I place these in a plastic bag and poured in a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Twist the bag closed and give it a good shake. You want to make sure everything is coated with some of that oil. Dump these tomatoes out onto a cookie sheet that is prepped with tin foil. I've also sprayed this pan with baking spray. Spread out, and now it's time to season. None of these seasonings have any carbs, so season with your taste preferences. I, of course, used my emotional support seasoning of garlic powder and onion powder, as well as salt and pepper, and I also sprinkled on some cumin powder and cumin. Pop this into a preheated 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes. It's going to smell really good in a few minutes as this begins to roast. While the tomatoes are roasting, start cooking a pot of couscous. I prefer to use tricolored pearl couscous. It's chewy and colorful. This kind of couscous hit store shelves in the 1950s as a substitute for rice. I cut up my bacon into bite-sized pieces before I start cooking. In my opinion, this is just easier. As a little trick for either rice or couscous, I throw a clean dish towel over the pot and recover with the lid for the last minute of cooking. Be sure you turn your flame off if you do this. No need to catch the towel on fire. Looks like I forgot to turn my flame off first before popping on a towel. Do as I say, folks, and not as I do. When the bacon has reached the desired doneness, which you are going for, turn off heat and remove from the pan with a slotted spoon onto a plate with paper towels to absorb unnecessary grease. Blot, roll up, and set aside. The dressing for this was a simple lemon and oil. 1 part lemon juice to 1 part oil. A little bit of garlic and some mustard to bind everything together. Season with salt and pepper, whisk, taste test, and adjust as your taste buds tell you to do. Dice up a cucumber. I like to pare the skin, leaving some behind. It adds a little pop of color. I also cut up some fresh basil, rinse the leaves, stack, roll, and then slice into julienne pieces. Easy peasy to do this. I added garbanzo beans and mozzarella and then plated. This creation turned into a dinner winner for my family. It was delicious. I hope you enjoy. Before I begin the actual carb count, let me say that I am not a medical professional. I am just a person who happens to wear my pancreas in my pocket. I also happen to have years of living with type 1 diabetes. I was diagnosed in 1964. If you do have a medical question, please consult your diabetic care team. Let's count the carbs for the roasted cherry tomato and couscous salad. And there will be some math involved, but don't worry, it's not that hard. So we begin with the cherry tomatoes, and that was 10 grams of carbohydrates per serving. Olive oil was 0. Seasonings that I used were 0. Lemon juice had 0.5 grams of carbs per serving. Garlic had 0. Mustard had 0. Garbanzo beans had 14.5 grams. Cucumber had 2.5 grams. Basil had 0. Mozzarella had 0. Bacon had 0. And the couscous had 40 grams per serving. Now you add these columns up and that comes out to 40 grams for the couscous, 27 grams for the innards of the salad, and a half a gram for the dressing, and that equals 67.5 grams of carbohydrates. Once you have your final carbohydrate count for your serving, you will need to divide this number by your carb ratio number. For instance, if I use my carb ratio number of 1 to 15, 67.5 divided by 15 is equal to 4.5 units of insulin to keep my blood sugar within a normal range. Happy carb counting, and remember, my fellow type 1s, counting carbs so our pancreas doesn't have to, one meal at a time.